Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review for you. I feel like I haven't actually sat down and filmed in a while now because I had so many pre-recorded videos. So sorry if my videos have been quite sparse recently. Work has just been crazy and I just haven't really had any time to sit down and actually film a video. So I just literally about 10 minutes ago finished this book and I thought I'm just going to sit down and film this video while it's still sort of fresh in my mind, because otherwise I'll leave it 2 weeks and then I'll forget what the book was even about. So the book I'm going to review today is, I believe it's called Everything Everything. Yeah, Everything by Nicola Yoon. The story behind getting this book, I had a really long train journey to go on and I thought I need a book that I'm going to be interested in, and just wanted something, despite all the books on my to be read shelf, I felt like I needed a new book. Haven't been reading a ton lately. Again, I just haven't really had the time and I haven't really had the passion for reading lately. I don't know why, but I thought a new book would sort of help revive that, and it definitely has. So I just went into Waterstones, saw this book on a whim and picked it up. The blurb on the back really caught my attention, so I'll read that to you now. It says, "Live life in a bubble or risk everything for love. Maddie is allergic to the world. She hasn't left her house in 17 years. Ollie is the boy next door. He's determined to find a way to reach her. Everything is about the crazy risks we take for love." So straight off the bat, you know that she's allergic to the world in some sense, and that there is a romance aspect to the book. And one just quick side note, her husband actually did all the illustrations for this book, so I'm assuming the front cover, which is really pretty, and there's also a couple illustrations throughout the book. So what is it about? I'll just give you a quick sort of synopsis. So the main character of this book is a teenage girl called Maddie, and for her whole life she has lived in her house with her mum. Her brother and her dad died when she was like a couple months old, so all she's ever known is her and her mum and her nurse Carla, who helps look after her. And she believes that she has this illness, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but it's SCID or SCID, I'm not quite sure, but all she's ever known is living in this house, and if she's told that if she goes out the house that all these things she could be allergic to and could possibly kill her. And so she takes all her school lessons online. She never has any interaction with anyone except for her mum and her nurse, and it's just a very sort of isolated life, but that's sort of all she's ever known, so she wouldn't really know much different. And then one day a new family moves in next door and they have a son called Ollie, and naturally she is very curious who this boy is. She has this attraction to him and they end up talking to each other, and that's sort of where the book starts off. Ollie sort of sparks something in Maddie that she wants more than the life she has now. She wants to get out and see the world and just to even meet him. Toby, come here. Toby, come here. Toby, come here. Come here. Oh, come here, boy. Oh, look, here's Toby. Oh, and Oscar. So if you don't know, which you probably don't, we have two dogs and they're actually joining me right now, which is very cute. Come here, Oscar. Come here. So these are my two boys. Oh, Toby. Well, that's Toby. And then this little one is Oscar, who, as you can tell, is a lot more placid, and would probably just sit here for the rest of the video if I let him. And now I'm totally distracted. Hey? Hey, cutie, you can lay down. My mum's out at the moment, so they're being all loving towards me. So Maddie and Ollie start to message each other, and they can see each other through their bedroom windows, and Maddie finds Ollie very mysterious, so she really wants to get to know him and know more about him. and Carla, her nurse, actually organises for Ollie to come round under very strict sort of guidelines because they don't know if he's going to make her sick or if something could trigger her being sick. Personally, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, which is sort of the highest I've given a book lately. I thought, without giving any spoilers away, I did think the ending was slightly weaker, and I would have liked... I think that it allows for a follow-up book, if I'm honest. I would like to know more of what happens when this book finishes, but that's all I'll say with non-spoilers. So if you think that you might be interested in reading this, then I'd say probably stop watching this video now. The rest of the video probably is going to have a bit of spoilers because I'm going to be talking about the end of the book. If you have read this book or you really don't care about spoilers, then keep watching. Towards the end of the book, you start to question yourself whether Maddie's actually real. Obviously, she goes on this trip to Hawaii with Ollie, and she seems alright, but then obviously she has her turn and you think, oh, she is actually allergic to the world. Something is quite serious. And then she gets a letter through from a doctor from Hawaii who treated her, basically saying she doesn't think she's ever been sick. Makes Maddie question her whole life. And it puts that question in her mind, whether has she ever actually been sick? Has it? Because she's never been outside, she's never really tested that theory. So she mentions this to Carla, and it's something Carla has also been thinking and wondering about, whether if she is actually ill. Stuff happens in between. Basically, Maddie finds out that her mum has been lying to her whole life. She goes into her office and there is nothing about her condition. She gets tests done and the doctors say she really doesn't have this illness, and that her mum has basically been keeping her in a house, sort of under house arrest for her whole life. And that all stems down from her grief of losing her husband and her son. She's lost 2 of her family at one time, and it was very hard for her to deal with, and Maddie actually became quite ill after they died, and that sort of put the fear in her. She didn't want to lose Maddie as well, so she wanted to keep her safe in her home. It's a lot to wrap your head around when you read it, but that is what grief can do to you. It can make you say things you would have never said and do things that you never thought you would do, and obviously her mum really wasn't handling it very well, and it's such a shame that she felt the need to protect her daughter that much, that in a way she's actually put her life at risk because she's never been exposed to day-to-day things, day-to-day colds and viruses, and the doctor that she sees at the end actually tells her that she could be more at risk of just like catching a general cold and it doing more harm than it would the average person, because her immune system has never grown to resist these types of bacteria and things like that. And you really feel Maddie's pain at the end, because this whole life she's been living has been a lie, and she has missed out on, 17 years of her life and doing everything that a child should do, just going and running out and playing with friends and just going to school and having like her first date and things like that. Like, she missed out on all those important stages of like your early life. And then towards the end, she sort of starts to defy her mum, and she books a ticket to New York and she goes and finds Ollie, and that's sort of where the book ends, is them two meeting. And I think it would be really interesting to have a follow-up book, maybe even from Ollie's perspective, but just seeing how she deals with life outside her house and how she's dealing with everyday things that she would never have had to deal with before. That I'm sure there's many things that she's never known about or never seen before, just like day-to-day things. So I think that would be quite a good little follow-up book for the author to do. But yeah, so I actually really enjoyed this book. The ending was slightly meh. I mean, it wrapped it up quite nicely, but like I said, I feel like there should be another book coming. So yeah, that was my review of Everything. As always, I'm always looking for new books to read, so let me know what you're reading at the moment, and if you've read this book before, let me know what you thought of it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!